How y'all are this afternoon? This is your old buddy Tackleberry over here at the Bergen Gun Range. For my next installment on, hey, I have this old used gun. And the old used gun that I have today is this one. This is the Ruger Model 77. Some people call this the Safari, but actually this gun was the original Model 77. This is the way it comes set up. It's a pretty good rifle. I've had it for about 40 years. To give you an idea how old it is, I think I paid $229 for it at Western Auto in Somerset, Kentucky, and that's been closed for 40 years. This is the original 77. I don't exactly know how old this gun is. I haven't gone to their website and run the serial number on it to find out exactly when it was manufactured, but I believe it was manufactured in 1973. It's a really good gun. I've owned it for a really long time. The way you tell the older 77s from the newer 77s is the older 77s, you have to bolt on the scope mount, whereas the newer 77s have, and mini 14s and so forth, have machined integral scope mounts. This is, I don't know how long the barrel is. I ain't never measured it, but it's long enough. Let's put it that way. It has the same kind of rear sight on it that a 1022 has got on it, and it's on this elevated pedestal to get it up there within line of sight. It has a really beautiful front sight arrangement on it, and it's got this ramp that's put on there with a collet. And it has a blade front sight with a brass bead highlight on it. Over the years, I've installed a Safariland brand 3/4 inch sling on it because I just like a 3/4 inch sling. It's easier to use for sling supported as opposed to one of those slings that have got a big shoulder pad on them. Cobra slings, I believe they call them. This is a really nice rifle. I've shot this a lot. Many years ago, I saw a movie called Hatari about big game hunters and trappers in Africa. And when I was a kid watching that movie at the Virginia Cinema in Somerset, eating my popcorn with my big boy pop, and those guys could shoot. And I said, one of these days I'm going to have rifles like that, and I'm going to be able to shoot like that. One of these days I can. Anyway, this is a really cool rifle, and we're going to try it out. This scope is a Lyman steel tube 1-inch fixed 4-power scope that I came up with a few years ago, and it matched the motif and time period of the gun. What the hell was that? They got their problems. Oh, okay. But it was cloudy. It had moisture in it. And there was a gentleman out in South Dakota, I believe he's no longer in business or maybe even passed away, that repaired vintage scopes. And I sent it out there to him and paid a fairly exorbitant amount of money, but the scope is now clear and perfect. They don't make them anymore. Lyman Scopes, Lyman Optics is out of business. Really nice scope, really nice rifle. Everything fits together, and it's part of mine. Here we go with Winchester silver tip, 270, 150 grain. In the old days, silver tips were in fact sterling silver in the end. Today they're aluminum. Sterling silver is worth too much to use as a ballistic material. Winchester silver tips are still available. They still make them. The purpose of the silver tip is similar to the ballistic tip in that it isn't damaged so easily by the function of the rifle. Typically, soft point ammunition like this, that soft point is damaged by the workings of the rifle, feed ramp, and so forth, and that can affect its accuracy. Whereas a silver tip doesn't have that problem. And then the silver tip is pushed back into the bullet to help it expand. So it's a very consistent hitting ammunition. Very consistent expander. Very good game killer. Now we're going to fire 5 rounds out of this old boy and see how it shoots. As always, the targets are 14-inch steel circle at 155 yards, a 10-inch steel circle, a 5-inch steel plate that I can just barely see because of the weeds, and a steel cylinder on a peg that I refer to as the steel groundhog. So we're going to give it a try here for 5 shots and see if we can hit it. You may be able to hear it hit down there, you may not, we'll see. 14-inch steel plate. Yeah, that was a hit. Keep that going. Oh yeah. Alright, that's 2 on the 14. Let's try the 10. Very smooth functioning rifle. Oh yeah. Typically at 150 yards, if you can hit a 10-inch steel circle with a high-powered rifle, you can kill a deer with it without too awful much trouble. Now I'm shooting from a rest up here, but a couple of years ago on this farm I killed a white-tailed deer by shooting it at just exactly where I aimed for it at about 100 yards, which was the base of the skull. Turned him off like a light switch. Oh yeah. Thing about a 270 is it shoots really flat. Jack O'Connor developed it back in the 40s, 50s. Winchester didn't want to have anything to do with it. 5-inch steel plate, 155. What? Really? That 5-inch steel plate had a hook on the back of it, was hanging on the a pallet. hit the plate and broke the tread of the pallet. And now the steel plate's down. Well, Of course, it'd probably been hit a few times by misses. You know, it's not saying it was real strong to begin with. Here's 150 grain. MFR, one of my funky reloads. Same target set up. Let's try the steel groundhog. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. This is a kind of a light load. I chunk these up. I think they're at, oh, I don't know, 2,500 feet a second, 2,400. It says 2,400 feet a second. Yeah, these are kind of light. I better put these together for groundhog. And the steel groundhog's got another hole in it. And let's see, 10-inch steel plate. Oh yeah, that's good. And last but not least, someone has left the cap of an aerosol can sitting down there on the log. I'm going to see if I can't hit it. It seems like a challenge. No. That was a no. Let's see if I can hit it again. Or let's see if I can miss it again. Let's do that. Let's see if I can miss it again. Oh, whoa. Not only did I miss it, but I missed it by a lot. Let's try that again. That rifle might be off. We might have to work on that a little bit. Let's try that one more time. Well, that ain't no good. Well, anyway, well, I tell you, you don't get to see, the way I film this thing, you don't get to see the targets. So, you know, I tell you, if I missed or I hit it. Them last 4 I missed. So, come real close, but kind of missed. I did knock the cap off, though. It hit the log and a chunk of bark went up there and knocked it off. So, horseshoes and hand grenades. But anyway, the Ruger 77, the original, pretty good rifle. It kicks a little bit. I put a limb saver on it a few years ago because I'm getting a little bit older and I just can't stand to have the tar beat out of me anymore. But the limb saver helps it a lot. Overall, fantastic rifle. People have a hard time with it. I go through this right quick. See a little hole right there? It's called a hatcher hole. That's on there to relieve the stress when the receiver is heat treated. Modern rifles, ones made in the last 25 years or so, they're investment cast. They make a casting, then they mill it out, then they heat treat it again, and it doesn't require that. This is actually machined out of a block of steel, and when they heat treat it, it has to have some kind of a stress relief. You see this on a lot of military rifles, a lot of military bolt-action rifles, Mausers, 03s, and things like that. They put that in there to relieve the stress of the heat treating process. Overall, fantastic gun, and that's about the size of it. This gun, value-wise, this gun is worth about, in this condition, set up this way, this gun's worth about $450 at retail. You know, it's a 40-year-old high-powered rifle, or older. And if you have one similar to this, or one like this, if you go to trade it in, your value on it is somewhere around $250 maybe. Sit all the way up like this. Less accessories, less gun, less money. Well, that's about the size of it. That's it for this installment of 8. I got this old used gun. I really appreciate everybody who's liked and shared, commented, viewed, and so forth. Shout out to Helen Sarge down in Lincoln County for helping me get stuff together and introducing me to people on the internet and getting people to come and watch my videos and so forth. It really means a lot to me. So y'all keep up the good work. Keep watching my stuff and liking my stuff. If you don't like my stuff, leave me a comment telling me you don't like it. I've said this before. I worked in the penitentiary system in Kentucky for 20 years. I got a pretty thick hide on me. You could probably call me just about anything and me not get too awful mad at you. Well, all right then. I'll see you when I see you. And thanks for watching.